Your brain can learn fear in seconds, but it can take months to unlearn. And guess what? The Bible actually explains why. But first, let me tell you one of the most dangerous things that fear does. It convinces you that it's wisdom. It sounds like this. Maybe I should wait a little longer. I just want to be careful. I'm not sure if I'm ready yet. And on the surface, that sounds responsible. So today in this video, we're going to uncover 3 ways that fear disguises itself as wisdom. Because once you understand how fear works, you can stop letting it control your life and gain confidence to move forward in your faith instead of staying stuck. Now, fear is one of the most powerful emotional forces in the human brain. You see, it exists for a reason. You see, fear protects us from danger. Like if you touch a hot stove, fear teaches you not to do it again. If you walk into a dangerous situation, fear activates your brain to protect you. So fear itself isn't the problem. You see, the problem happens when fear starts showing up in places where danger doesn't exist. And suddenly your brain begins to interpret growth, risk, and uncertainty as threats. And when that happens, fear begins disguising itself as wisdom. Now, let me show you something that's fascinating about the brain. You see, there's a part of the brain called the amygdala, and the amygdala's job is to detect threats. But here's the problem. Your amygdala can't always tell the difference between real danger and emotional discomfort. So let me say that for you again. It cannot always tell the difference between real danger and emotional discomfort. So if you've ever experienced rejection, failure, or a painful situation in the past, your brain begins to predicting those experiences again. And suddenly your brain starts saying, don't do that again. Not because it's dangerous, but because it felt painful once before. And that's when fear starts sounding like wisdom. So let me ask you something. Have you ever avoided something because you were afraid of how it might turn out? Maybe starting something new, maybe speaking up, maybe pursuing something that God placed in your heart. If so, comment I have. Now, fear disguises itself 3 ways, and we're going to go through each one of those individually. So the first way that fear disguises itself is overthinking. And overthinking feels productive. It feels like you're being careful, strategic, but often overthinking is simply fear trying to maintain control. Your brain starts running scenarios like, what if this fails? What if I embarrass myself? What if this doesn't work out? And the more your brain runs those simulations, the more convinced you become that doing nothing is the safest choice. But here's the truth. You see, overthinking rarely creates clarity. It creates paralysis. Now in Proverbs 3:5, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Now I want you to notice something important. Wisdom isn't always having complete certainty. Sometimes wisdom is trusting God without knowing every outcome. Now the second way that fear disguises itself is as perfectionism. Now perfectionism sounds noble. People say things like, I just want to get it right. I want it to be perfect before I start. But perfectionism is often driven by one simple fear, the fear of being seen before you feel ready. And here's the fascinating thing about the brain. You see, perfectionism activates the brain threat system. You see, your brain starts associating mistakes with danger. So instead of risking failure, you delay action. But growth rarely happens before action. You see, growth happens because of action. Now, after hearing these 2, which one do you feel like you struggle with more? Is it 1, overthinking, or 2, perfectionism? Just comment 1 or 2 in the comments below. Now, this last one is one of the greatest ways that people end up stuck. And it's because fear disguises itself as waiting on God. You see, this one is extremely common amongst Christians. People say things like, I'm praying about it. I'm looking for confirmation. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes waiting is wise, but sometimes waiting is simply fear wearing spiritual language, because stepping forward requires uncertainty. It requires faith and courage, and fear would do everything it can to convince you that staying still is spiritual. Like I want you to think about Moses. Like he pretty much told God that he wasn't ready. Think about Gideon. He asked for multiple confirmations. Think about Peter. He stepped out of the boat before even knowing what was happening. See, most people that God used in scripture was not fully prepared. But guess what? They were willing. And this is where cognitive patterns come in. You see, our mind creates thinking distortions. Thoughts like, this will fail. People will judge me. I'm not capable. But those thoughts are often predictions and not reality. And one of the most powerful questions that you can ask yourself is this: is this wisdom or is this fear? Then ask yourself, what evidence do I actually have? Because fear thrives in assumptions. Wisdom is rooted in truth. Some of you are not stuck because you lack ability. You're stuck because fear convinced you that staying still was wise. But your life was never meant to be ruled by fear. You see, 2 Timothy 1:7 says it best. It says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. You see, fear distorts thinking, but truth restores clarity. And when you begin to recognize fear for what it really is, you stop letting it quietly control your life. Because sometimes the biggest breakthrough in your life begins the moment that you realize what you thought was wisdom was actually fear. Hey, if this message spoke to you, I want you to do 3 things. First, like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Second, watch the next video where I explain why you're stuck. Because once you understand it, it will take you to a whole nother level. And third, if you want to go deeper into this journey, grab a copy of my book, Never Broken: How God Rebuilds What Life Tried to Shatter. The link is in the description below. Because the truth is, you were never broken. You were only being rebuilt. Y'all stay blessed.